Good afternoon, everyone. Call the meeting to order. Parks, Recreation, Leisure Activities Committee agenda, July 19th, year 2023, City Hall, 12 o'clock. Declarations of conflict of interest. Approval of agenda. Adoption of minutes. Business arising from the minutes. Okay, we'll move into reports. Refer to our manager, Frank Quinn. A, resolution to award central field light poles and fixture replacements. Frank?
All right, everyone. You'll see that the committee reports are slightly different than they were previously for backgrounders for capital projects. I'm using the standardized committee reports that we're working on. So what it is I'm bringing the actual report, what the request is, you guys approve it, and then the resolution that is attached to this will go to committee, and this will become the backgrounder for the actual resolution, the report. You'll see that this was advertised and it closed on July 13th. This first one is related to the Parkman Park Trail development. We've been working on this project for a while. It's along the, there is a drainage swale that runs along the park, and part of our parkland is along that location. And we're trying to get access from Alderley Court to the Parkman Soccer Complex and the Parkman Park. So this, we went out, we did a fair bit of research along the swale with regards to environmental assessments. We also hired Coles to do development and design. And we recently went out to a tender, and we received 3 bids, and they were actually very good bids. We were impressed with the price, which was good. It means that we're within budget. So you'll see that Landmark is the one that we're recommending to award to, and their price was $66,469.21 plus applicable taxes. And you'll also notice that we're also awarding the Coles Associates for the engineering and project management and professional services be accepted as well for $35,438. And this will seem to be a little higher. The actual engineering and project management will seem to be high based on the actual work that's being done. But we had to do a lot of work around the environmental assessment. We had to do boreholes. We had to do testing of the ground to make sure that we could actually put a trail there. And so that's the reason why that is higher. It's in a sensitive environmental area. But anyway, once this pathway is in place, it will actually give access to people that live in that area to the park. Right now, they have to walk across this swale. Outside of that, like I said, the council approved $156,770 in the budget. So between those, the tender amount and the professional fees, we're within that budget. And prior to the project starting, we'll be going out to public notice to let the residents know that construction will be taking place. And just so we have to adhere to, we're waiting on a watercourse, wetland, and buffer zone activity permit before we commence construction. So that application's been submitted. We should have it within the next couple of weeks. Once we receive that, we'll be going ahead with this project, and it should be done around mid-September, if not earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Frank, so we need a watercourse permit, a permit to be able to, I thought we were avoiding the watercourse. I thought that's why we were putting this up on Alderley side, above the swale.
Anywhere.
We still need that permit?
We still need it because it's within the 50-foot buffer zone. We're within the buffer zone.
Because of the buffer
So,
zone.
yeah, and it is a steep incline, and we're actually building it up, and we're actually extending the culvert so that the actual, because that was one of the issues as well, the culvert was cut off there short and didn't go out, so we have to build so there's enough shoulder of the road to allow people to come into the pathway.
And do they have a timeline, Frank, of how long they expect it to take?
It'll start, like, as soon as we get the activity, the permit, and we anticipate having it done by the middle of September, if not sooner.
Okay, okay. No, it's good because these people don't have access to the park right behind them because of that swell, and the grass is up over their waist and so on, so it'd be nice when it gets done, so thank you.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Just out of curiosity, what is the application of this? Is it just carving out a path, or is it asphalt, or what is the application?
So it's actually carving out the location, putting in the proper shale, putting in gravel, and then also putting on, I believe we're going with crushed asphalt, I believe, but I could be wrong. It might be actually quarter minus. I slipped in my mind what exactly it is, but it's not an asphalt surface.
But conducive enough for transportation of many forms, correct?
Correct, yeah. So it's we've done this in a lot of areas that are in environmental areas. We use crushed asphalt because it builds a nice base and it looks environmentally appropriate as well. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, sorry, the first one was Parkman. I don't know why that got out of order. The first one should have been, I was talking about the Parkman Trail Development, so. Yeah, so the agenda just got flipped there. Sorry, so we're doing Central Field now, sorry. Okay, sorry about that, I apologize. So the next one is the Central Field light pole fixtures replacement. And you'll see the background report that details what the project is. This was posted as well for 2 weeks. It closed on Friday, the 14th. The damage occurred to Central Field Lights system at the Hurricane Fiona. So it created major damage. It actually knocked down 4 of the poles and meant that the light systems are not operable right now. So the scope of work for this project is the removal of the existing light infrastructure that was damaged during Hurricane Fiona, and the installing of a new light poles and fixtures, which is the most efficient LED lighting systems on the market, and provides uniform lighting in addition to advanced lighting control options. These lights will be very similar to the ones that are at City Diamond right now, and they are the most energy efficient lights that you can buy currently. In this project, or for this project, council approved $400,000 during the 2023-2024 capital budget. And you'll see that with the total for the RFP, that we're going to need some additional funds in the engineering. So we will require an additional $63,240, which we're recommending to reallocate from the sports field complex development, where there is sufficient funds remaining, and it's unknown if these funds will be spent, if all of them will, or a portion of them. So we're recommending to come from there. As well, since these lights infrastructure was damaged during Hurricane Fiona, there has been a claim submitted to the city's insurer, which we're waiting to receive word on. So we might receive full insurance costs. We might receive part of it. We're not sure yet. So there's a likelihood that we'll be receiving money from the insurer. Just details on the tender. There was one tender received. And it's from Hanson Electric. It's deemed to be a fair market price for the scope of work. Staff are recommending to award, and if this is awarded, the system would be ordered, right away, like July 5th. It's expected to take in the range of 8 weeks for delivery. The removal of the system, the existing infrastructure and installation of the new light system is anticipated to commence September 18th. And be completed by October 20th. And the Hanson Electric bid is $412,000. plus applicable taxes. And then there's also awarding the engineering and project management professional services to Richardson Associates for $9,125 plus applicable taxes. Prior to this project starting, of course, we'll be putting out public notice that the construction will be starting. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer them.
Chair? Frank, you mentioned earlier, did I hear you, so the total cost is 412 plus the engineering, right? So you're only, what, 21,000 above, correct? I heard,
It's 21,000 and plus your applicable taxes, so the 10%.
Right.
Which the city does get back,
Yeah.
but I have to accommodate or have to allocate it in the resolution.
yeah. And you're taking that additional funding requirement or amount from the sports field complex development. I know Councillor Bernard brought it up at the last meeting for the Standing Committee on Parks, Recreation, Leisure about, a grander plan. And I know I've been asked numerous times by the Kerala Association of Prince Edward Island and the Prince Edward Island Cricket Association about a development of a cricket pitch. And again, to go back to what Councillor Bernard was asking about, it was a broader conversation. So I know that that group would like to come in, the PEI Cricket Association would like to come into this committee or come to council, like as you were saying about baseball, soccer, and so forth. So I just don't want to keep chipping away at this 500,000 because to me, it's not enough for what we need and what we're looking for and what we need.
Yes, Your Worship. So I agree wholeheartedly. Like I said, I anticipate we'll be getting money back from the insurance. So it'll be going back into that account. It'll actually go back into the central field account, and then we'll just reverse that reallocation and put it back in the sport field account. And there potentially will be money in the central field account that could be reallocated to another project as well. So, so this is the first little bit we had to take. We had to find an account, and it makes sense. It's associated ball field, light development, and sport field development. So that was sort of the account. But it will, I don't know when we're going to hear from the insurer, but hopefully we will hear back before the end of this fiscal year.
Thank you, Yours. I'm just wondering, the 10% though, Frank, I don't think we get that till the end of the year. That tax, so I don't think it can go back in that account. Probably go back.
No, the 10% goes back into general revenue. So that's usually why I have to allocate it for it in this account, and then that 10% goes into general revenue that gets utilized in the city's budget.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, question. So we had budgeted 400,000. The project's coming in at 412 plus an additional 9. So we'll round that up to 420,000. It does indicate here that there's required additional funds of 63,240. Where am I not getting that from? Like where am I missing the additional?
So Councilor Butard, is that 10% that is the money? So we do it, it's a base amount and plus applicable taxes. The 10% is that money that I have to allocate in our budget to cover that. Then when it comes back to the city, it goes back into general revenue, so.
Okay. Okay, just
I-
optically the math, it doesn't add up here.
I wish I didn't have to allocate for it. It would be a lot easier, but
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
all right, and I apologize for not getting this sent out to you earlier. I think I just sent out this morning there, but all right, so this resolution here is to award the owner's project management services for Simmons replacement. As you're quite aware, the project is well underway. We've got all our tenders awarded right now, and we're trying to we need to have somebody in place to assist Mike and I, who have been doing the owner's project management portion of it, working with DRSA and IB Story and the contractors. So we went out to RFP. It closed on July 14th. And what we reviewed, we're looking at having the scope of services for 15 months period for the owner's management services. It includes representing and supporting city staff at site meetings, working with the architects, engineering firms to provide support, working with the construction contractors to ensure coordination, providing input on project construction schedules, providing comment on shop drawings, reviewing and providing recommendations on our RFIs and change orders, etc., and reviewing progress claims and reviewing deficiencies and providing recommendations, and then managing the building commissioning process with a third party when the building is near completion. Sorry, and I apologize, there is an actual statement in there that shouldn't be in there. Just remove that. Take that paragraph out. Sorry, it was removed. I must not have saved it. So I'll remove that before it goes out to council. So there was four RFP bid proposals were received. The bid proposals, which included the qualification and experience component and the financial component, were evaluated by the Staff Evaluation Committee. The Evaluation Committee is recommending to proceed with awarding the RFP to Harborside Engineering Consultants, since they scored the highest and the bid price is deemed to be a fair price for the scope of services. If awarded, it is anticipated to commence their services July 25th, like right away. The tender was advertised for 2 weeks, period. The summary of the total scores are below. So you'll notice that there was the qualification and experience score, the financial score, and the total score, and then the RFP bid amounts. So Harborside scored for qualifications and experience 55. Financial score was 60. They were the lowest price, and their total score was 115. You'll see the other three companies behind them: Collier Project Leaders, Vigilant Atlantic, and Atlas Group Limited. Their scores there. There was one group that their financial component was disqualified, which was the Atlas Group. Their firm's bid price that was provided indicated that additional travel disbursements would be charged. So their fee was not a fixed monthly fee, and that's what we asked for, which is what we asked for. So anyway, so that's the reason why we disqualified their financial part. We were impressed with all the firms that provided proposals. They all are quite capable, which was excellent to see. So it's recommended that the bid of $168,000 plus applicable taxes from Harborside Engineers, Harborside Engineering Consultants for the owner's project management services for Simmons replacement project be accepted. And it's they scored the highest, and it's also the price is seen to be a fair price, and they meet the requirements. And then just the financial implications. It was stated at the background previously in Tender Package 6 that additional funds would be required to be budgeted so the city could engage the services of a professional firm to provide owner project management services. So council is aware that this is coming. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just out of curiosity, is this a common practice of having a firm come in and do what's called the owner's project management services? Because I assume a lot of these, the oversight of a lot of these things would be done by city staff, maybe even yourself, Frank. Or is this a common practice around that, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, to the manager.
I think that when you look at a project this magnitude, it's important that we have personnel on staff that have the credentials and qualifications, number one, that are going to be on site, watching and assessing the work that's done each day and making sure that all the codes are complied with. and reporting back to our management team on a consistent and regular basis to update them and to, and for management to update council as to where we're at in terms of timelines and timeframes. But it's very important that we have someone that's truly independent on site that oversees the project, and that's representing the city's interest.
So this person represents the interest of the city and
That's
certainly.
correct. Absolutely. Frank, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, so just in addition to that too, yeah, so Councillor Tweel is correct. And so what it is to actually, it's the sheer size of this project. It's a multi-tendered project. There are multiple contractors who want to make sure there's coordination. The project now is underway. As I've indicated, Mike and I have been doing this sort of on the side with everything else we're doing. But now that the project's well underway, we need to have someone to provide us that level of expertise, that we're not just relying on, DRSA to provide us everything or the contractors. We have a third party to sort of say, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah,
So they're
and we did
accountable.
have the owner project managed and hired previously, but that term ran out and we decided we'd go out to RFP to get a wider range of project management services firms bidding on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yep. I think that addresses my question.
Mr. Chair, just on that, Frank did mention that we did have a project manager that was at the beginning, the early stages, the infant stages of this project, Jim Kane. But Jim Kane took ill and had to remove himself because of duties, because of his health issue. Plus, we're up to what, $35 million, Frank, with this project?
Slightly under that, but pretty close.
Close to 35. It's engineering, it's architectural. I know that you need the quality personnel to deal with engineers and architects, and so most big projects do have a project overseer, and I think this is great that it's a local firm. I know it's in Stratford, but it's still in the capital region, so I'll support it. But Frank, could I just ask you something on the project? Since we're talking about the project engineer, I mentioned this to Mike White earlier. As the siding takes place, or it starts going up, we see these big white walls. I think that's why a community meeting, I think the chair talked about having a neighborhood meeting on this issue. The aesthetics will just look like, on the rink side, one big white wall. So hopefully we'll get some input from the public on providing some ideas on what we can do to enhance the aesthetics, because it is a school neighborhood, it's a old neighborhood, and I think that it would be appropriate to get that feedback sooner than later.
Yes, Your Worship. So we are planning on going to a community update meeting, sort of
Yeah.
where the project's at. And we will have the up-to-date renderings that will show the drawings. Yes, it's showing the white there, but we have fins that are sort of breaking that up. We also have the entrance, which has different types of material with glass and a wood look siding that with a sort of a brown-gray look. So there will be other colors. But yeah, no, so we'll be providing an update to the community. Any changes, of course, at this time would cost more money, so
Yeah.
we have to keep that in mind as well. But
And just a last point, Mr. Chair, I know that with all the tenders out, now it's full steam ahead with the contractor, mostly Fitz and Stowe, and our project manager being hopefully Harborside, that we're also, and this was discussed a year, maybe 2 years ago, about creating that interior space, celebrating the contribution of the Simmons family, the pop makers, and how they made a huge contribution to sports education in that neighborhood. So I hope that will be something that we discuss with our project engineer going forward.
thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so that is on our radar. Mike and I will be meeting. We've already been in discussions with Heritage to get some information there. I've also had a few individuals provide me with some other historical information of the old Simmons Arena, but there will be an actual, we're not sure exactly what it's going to be, but there will be something there that will recognize the history of the Simmons family, the history of, potentially staff that worked at this facility as well. As you're quite aware, Deputy Mayor Stewie McFadgen, former Deputy Mayor, managed that facility for many years. But there's also a lot of even other history as well, which I wasn't aware of until it's been brought to my attention. So we'll do a focus on that.
Managed, he was the first manager when it opened back in '73 because he was at Prince Street School and he left to go with the city to be a rink manager, so.
Yeah, so we'll come back with a comprehensive overview on how we're going to recognize the Simmons family. And I think it's important that we do consult with the Simmons family, in particular people like Jack Simmons and Callie Simmons and anyone that's involved with that family to make sure that we have the accurate information. So we'll come back with a comprehensive report when we're ready to bring that forward.
One person I could mention, Mr. Chair, is Gordon McCarville.
Who?
Gordy McCarville, who did,
Well.
no, just 1 second. He did a lot of work on the Simmons Pop family that owned that
Pop
farm.
family, yeah.
So I really like to have, I think Frank probably is reaching out to Gordy McCarville because he did an extensive research on the Simmons family, especially the Pop people. Thank you.
On the Simmons Pop family, yeah. But as far as the actual history of the Simmons property itself, I think the person that we would definitely want to consult with is Jack Simmons. So when we, like I said, we get all the information, collaborations, consultations take place, we'll bring a report back to council. Anything under new business?
I do, Mr. Chair.
I just have one quick question on this, though.
Excuse me, can I just get a motion to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Moved.
I have a quick question on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And Frank, I'm just wondering, I know the scoring system's what it is, and when we brought the scoring system in, it was looking to get not just the lowest price, but the best bang for the buck for the city of Charlottetown. I'm just curious, Frank, you may not be able to answer it, but when I'm looking at these groups, there's only a $10,000 difference in the bid price of two of them, and the top one is quite a variance in price. Everything that we were looking for is in their contract, is it? We're not missing anything here. I just wonder why it's almost, what is it, $80,000 cheaper than the others? So everything we were looking for is in.
yeah, so it'd be, it's a bit little around 60 grand or, about 60,000 or so, 62, 63 less. Main reason for it, I would anticipate, is because they're a local firm. So that means that
Less cost.
less cost, but it's hard to know when you're doing it with these types of, when you get bids. This is actually quite close compared to sometimes, so.
No, that's fine. Just
No, they're very
everything
capable.
the city was looking for is in the contract. It was in that tender.
Yes, yeah, and like you said, we were very comfortable that all those firms, they all had the qualifications and experience to do the work, so, which is excellent.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just speaking to the motion that's on the floor. Frank, again, I think you did say that you will be speaking with our Heritage Officer, is it Natalie Munn? About trying to bring together all the history that we can to really show up that whole entrance foyer when we open this new facility, correct?
Correct, Your Worship, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I would like to add to,
Can I first just finish that motion?
I think we did it.
Yeah, but we're voting on it, yay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to add to our next committee meeting, if we could have a discussion or get some information on the fence and tree removal alongside the backside of Joe Giz Park, kind of adjacent to Beach Street in that general area, and look to have that area evaluated for, I think there's some long grass and there's some areas in which are problematic in that area, and I'd like to see what can be done there to clean up that area, to cut the grass down, fix that fence. The trees are still leaning over the fence. I know they were cut down to a certain length. I realize we're still doing Fiona cleanup and across the city. So if we could have that added to the agenda or get some information back on a timeline as to when that work may commence and if it's part of Parks and/or Public Works. It'd be nice to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Duly noted.
And just a note, I don't know if that needs to be on an agenda item. I think that it's operational. The manager should be able to just fix you up on that. Instead of waiting for another month, I think you probably want to get those answers fairly soon.
Well, Mr. Quinn has it, and
Well, in fairness, I mean, Frank has an answer, great, but I mean, I think it's an operational issue. Get that answer anyway.
I know but in all fairness to Councilor Matard, I know he's been trying with respect to fence jurisdiction and some of the issues there previously. So Frank will have a look, and if he thinks it needs attention of the committee, he can bring it to the committee. But if it can be handled from an operational perspective, then that's fine as well.
Okay. Appreciate that. If-
Yes,
No
Chair
problem.
Twill. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll provide you the update. I think I provided you an update a while ago, and I'll see where the status of things are at. It is, you're quite aware, it's a little complicated there because of where all the property boundaries are, and there's multiple property owners, but I will provide you with a more,
Yeah, so I am thinking now,
Updated.
my original request to you was isolated to one particular area of concern, but I think I'm extending it right down to the start of the trail on Kensington Road, and then leads all the way to the backside. So it's that whole entire fencing area. I know and there's a piece of parcel of land there that's, I believe it's city-owned, and then there is, there's just a lot of work that needs to be done down there, and I'd like to address that as soon as possible. Thank you.
Just under new business, Mr. Chair, I just want to give notification through the chair to our manager, Frank Quinn. Frank, I know that we did receive some information from some property owners around some of our squares and parks about how we, put it out to use by community groups, volunteer groups. And I know those squares, those heritage squares are very much protected by the neighborhoods that surround them. I grew up on King Square. I know the value of that square, not only to the people and the citizens of Charlottetown, but also the neighbors. So I'm just wondering if we can just get an update on how we go forward in addressing that issue. And Frank, just another notification is, what is Plan B for the active transportation pathway for Terry Fox Drive? Don't have to deal with it now, just to provide some information for the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think Mr. Quinn sent out a comprehensive email yesterday with regards to the procedures and process when it comes to booking any facilities in the park. And I think that was pretty in-depth, Frank, that email that you did send out. So I don't know if the committee had an opportunity to read that email, but I thought it was very well done. It kind of lays out what the procedure is, what the prerequisites are. And Frank, if you want to elaborate on that a little further, please feel free.
yeah, I don't have that response right in front of me, but it was sent to actually, I think, yourself and the mayor and another councillor that's not on this committee.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll bring that to the next meeting and just more or less provide, so that everyone's aware of our parks and how the process is going to use them for special events. They are there for the public to use, but we do have requirements in place that they have to meet before they are permitted to use them, so.
So Frank, what I'm speaking about, I didn't want to get into a lot of depth. I did read the email. There's some electrical upgrade issues that you referred to that is not available in our other squares or other parks as it is for Rochwood Square. But we have lots of green spaces throughout the city, and I just want to see a lot more equitable use of those facilities when we're planning any events for volunteer groups, because just the concentration on some squares or some parks, I think, is not given the value that this city has when we promote our parks, whether it's Victoria Park, or it could be the John Street Park, or the John Street Field, or it could be King Square. There's so much out there that we could look at a lot more equity. So I did read the email, and that'd be a great idea to move it around with the other committee members. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm just wondering, Mr. Chair, I know we brought it up here last month. What did we decide? I know we were going to leave it with the manager on those groups that want to come in: cricket, baseball, soccer, rugby.
Contact the manager.
Yeah.
manager, and then he'll take it from there. Maybe some of the issues can be resolved, or they can provide some options and opportunities for them. From a capital project perspective, and Mr. Quinn will bring them.
Which is what this is all about. Which is what this is all about. It's capital projects. It's cricket field, like the mayor brought up. It's soccer expansion. It's baseball expansion. It's rugby looking for their fields. So you want all of them to come in here first, and then go to council? Or?
Contact Frank.
Yeah.
Have them contact Frank, and then he'll look at it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
bring it forward to us.
Okay. So have the groups contact.
We'll start with Frank first. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, move for adjournment?
But I think you did say, Mr. Quinn, that we could look at make presentations to council because some of these
Not what
issues.
we said.
No,
What we
just,
said wa- no,
can I
hold
just
it.
finish?
No, hold it. What
No,
we
no.
said was, we will start with Frank Quinn
Yeah.
first.
No, Frank
Have the
does-
groups contact Frank
Yeah.
Quinn first.
Yeah, so again, they can come to this committee, this standing committee meeting, right? And I would like to invite other councillors to be part of that, so they can hear firsthand what's being asked. Because if we want to create this as the first step, no problem. Let's just make sure that other councillors are invited to listen to the proposals or arguments for or against expanding our sports field development.
Well, I just think if I could, I just think that at the end of the day, I think what I understand is get the groups to call Frank. Frank will have a discussion. Frank can make a recommendation whether it comes back here, whether it goes to council, similar to a finance, similar to what we do in finance time.
But
Yeah,
you-
so that's
The
fine.
process is, as you know, we start with the manager first. Then it comes to the committee, then the committee to council.
Well, not these.
No, not always. I mean, if the recommendations go to council, then,
I know, but for the most part. So
but-
let's have them contact Frank first.
yeah,
Sure.
that's what I said. And then Frank will make the recommendation work.
I got his number. I got Frank's number. I'll pass it on.